a statement, or if not, we can go straight to questions.
First statement, big wins for the day is the Pirates are, as of today, are all negative COVID. All coaches, everybody in I think it's called the Tier 1 bubble. Don't quote me on that, but the Tier 1 bubble, Malcolm, I don't think you're in the Tier 1 bubble, but Tier 1 bubble people, athletic trainers, everybody associated with the baseball program is negative. So we'll be full strength tomorrow going into the game, which is exciting. The other thing is I was sitting here thinking, as Malcolm was saying, you get to open it up. It's almost like the first day I was going to be the head coach and coach a game against UVA back in 2015, because we haven't played baseball in so long. So I have, you just anticipated this day, but not sure with COVID if you're going to play and all that good stuff. I know our guys and our staff are just ready to go out there tomorrow and play baseball against somebody else besides ourselves.
Okay, we'll open up the questions for Coach.
Coach, does Rhode Island, do they give you guys like an update on their testing at all? Or how does that work just kind of leading up to the game?
So they have to, anybody we play this year has to meet the minimum requirements for the AAC, which is 2 tests per week. So the Rhode Island coach, texted actually Jeff Palumbo this morning and said they were all clear. So that, and then there's forms obviously that are passed back and forth amongst the administration. So at least we don't have to handle that as baseball coaches. That's going through probably Mike Hanley and JJ and Womack. They handle kind of the behind the scenes stuff. So they're good to go. And they'll be heading down here today at some point in time.
Hey, how's Tyler Smith been this week? And he's obviously a fifth-year senior, and pretty cool for him to get that opening day spot as a senior, kind of sentimentally. How has he been this week? And I'm sure he's kind of looking forward to that moment.
Well, of course, we've battled some weather this week. Monday, we scrimmaged just a little bit. Tuesday, which was the, nicest day, we had to give him a day off, and we gave him that day off. I really have not been around Smitty that much, as crazy as that sounds, but we had a team meeting on Wednesday, and just more so with the younger guys. I said, "Hey, Smitty, have you done anything different this week?" He goes, "No." I go, "Exactly." And that's the way we approach as a program, that we're staying the same. I mean, nothing's changed. We're going to focus on the processes that have got us to this point. And when I mean this point, I mean Matt Bridges' processes are different than Smitty's. Smitty's are different than Seth Goodell's and so forth. So the guys are really focused on what each individual needs to do to prepare themselves to be ready tomorrow night. And then we've done the same as a team.
Cliff, is that a new game day hat that you got on there? I believe it's a hook, isn't it?
No, it's the Flame. It's Grover Gaming. Garrett Blackwater, who played basketball at East Carolina and was my roommate in college. It's his company, and it's a really cool hat. It fits well, and I'm going to support him until somebody says I can't wear it anymore, which I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So.
Coach, you had mentioned weather around here. Weather is always an issue. I would imagine for Rhode Island and those teams up north, it's always an issue this early in the season. Can you talk about how much of an advantage it is now as opposed to when you were a player at ECU, having the facilities you have and the resources to be able to practice indoors?
It's a tremendous advantage. We have a pitching indoor where our guys can throw bullpens inside. We have the hitting indoor, which we can pull the cages back, which we did on Sunday, and we went pitcher versus hitter in the big square cage that we have in our hitting indoor. So we wouldn't have been able to do any of that when I played here. We had outdoor cages and none of the hit, it was Harrington Field. So we'd lifted weights, and coach probably would have just ran us because there was nothing else for us to do because we couldn't play baseball, and we would have just not been able to get a ton of baseball stuff in because there was no indoor facilities for us to be able to get work in.
Coach, what kind of scouting report do you have on Rhode Island? I know you guys don't look at tape. I know you talk to other coaches, and what kind of scouting report do you have on?
Well, Bailey, first off, we do look at tape. So that's the one. We do watch video. So we're not the old school coaches that don't know how to use computers. We watch video. Now, the tough thing has been there's not a ton of recent video on pitchers, as last year was COVID, and it's just been harder to get information. And I can tell you this, I know the kid's name that's going to start for him on Friday night. He's a right-handed pitcher, but I really don't know much about him. He was hurt some last year. Stuff wasn't as good as it was 2 years ago. So there's going to be some uncertainty about who we're facing, what's going on, as much as any game we've ever played. I go back to the Quinnipiac game. It's hard to get video of those guys, and the video we had of pitchers was from a high home, and you couldn't tell if it was a fastball or a breaking ball. And I felt, as a coach, you want to prepare your guys just for what they're going to see, especially the hitting side of it. And, I felt naked going into that game, and that's not the reason we lost the game, but we don't have a lot of information. We have looked for it, but it's just not out there. And the thing our guys have to do a tremendous job of early, especially hitters, is communicating to the other batters what they're seeing at the plate. And, Bryson's going to lead off for us tomorrow. There's your little scoop there, Ronnie, with the lineup. Bryson's going to lead off for us, and he's going to have to come back with information to the next guy. And the next guy's going to have to pass it on, and we're just going to have to do a really good job of communicating early on in the game.
Cliff, I guess the good news is that it's not snowing outside. Bad news is still a little bit wet on the wet side. What's the prognosis, and what's the game plan a little bit in that regard?
Well, the positive is it's not snowing. I mean, you look back to last weekend, early on last week, it looked like it was going to snow for 4 days straight. And I looked at the radar this morning early, and 30, 40 minutes north and west of us, it was sleeting. So definitely better to be water than snow or ice for everybody involved, including Joey Perry. And look, I'm not a weatherman. You guys know that. We're going to do everything we can to play tomorrow, even if we have to back it up to 6 or 7 o'clock at night. It's going to get out of here at some point in time, but if not, then we'll strap it on and play a doubleheader on Saturday and one game on Sunday.
Speaking of that, if you have to push things back, how important is it this year, probably more than any other year, to be flexible?
Billy, that's the thing COVID has done to everybody, is there's no certainty about anything. There's no certainty about tomorrow. There's no certainty about 4 or 5 hours from now. So we've told our guys, you have to be ready to bob and weave and adapt. That's one of the things that we talked about in the fall a ton, and be ready for whatever, be ready for no fans, which we prepared for that. And we'll just take it 1 minute, 1 second at a time, and one pitch at a time, and see what happens.
Cliff, you had said earlier that the American had not decided on the doubleheader format, how many innings each game would be. Is that been firmed up, or is that still undecided?
Al, you really want to get way on into the season, huh? We're going to play 4 9-inning games. And it's not a set day, but most of the conference teams, we're going to play the doubleheader on Friday. And the reason we're doing that is for a couple of reasons. Number one, there's no midweek games, so your pitching can be rested for the previous weekend because there's no midweek. And secondly, you want to get the games in as soon as possible if the weather is okay, because we know there's weather. We play outside. So if we can get 2 games in on Friday, knock that out to start with, and then worry about the next 2 for the next 2 days.
Would you say that more innings helps teams with more pitching depth?
Normally, that's what helps. And then the other thing is the NCAA has given the American a waiver, so it'll be the MLB extra inning rule in conference. So, if a game, normally would have gone like 13, 14 innings, hopefully it'll not go that long because a runner will start at second base in conference. That's just in conference, though. That's not tomorrow night. We could play 18 innings if, it went into extra innings.
Coach, go ahead, Stephen. Go ahead.
You talked about Tyler Smith earlier. I'm sure you look at him and Cooch as both potential Friday night guys. Was there something that put Tyler over the edge just going to the series opener?
Well, I got really, and I talked to Smitty and Cooch together. I feel like we got really good relationships and brought them in together. And I said, look, I love both of you guys. Both of you guys have to be Friday night starters, as what we've told our entire pitching staff that's going to be starters. We want all of our guys to be Friday night starters. One guy's going to get the ball on Friday. One's going to get it on Saturday. One's going to get it on Sunday. But Carter Spivey most likely will get the ball on Tuesday. He needs to be a Friday night starter pitching against Duke. And the more Friday night starters we can have, the better we're going to be. Smitty, over, just the past 4 or 5 months has been a tick more consistent than Cooch has. Cooch historically gets stronger as the season goes on. So they know that, yes, one's pitching on Fridays, one's pitching on Saturday right now, but really if Carson Wisenhunt and Carter Spivey have pitched as good as those guys have, they just have more experience. So they're going to get the nod early. And then those other 2 guys are going to push them. And then once Gavin gets healthy, he's going to push them as well. So it's as you guys know, it's a long season, and our guys will do a good job of doing whatever role they're put into. And that's the thing Tyler Smith talks to the younger pitchers about all the time is, his junior year, he probably put too much pressure on himself and worried about the wrong things. And that was probably his worst statistical year here at East Carolina, when the year before he was like, I don't care if you throw me in the bullpen, I'll pitch on the weekends, whatever. Whenever my name's called, I'll be ready to go.
Coach, I hate to put you on the spot like this, but is there one guy, and you don't have to pick out one specific guy if you're not comfortable with it, but is there one newcomer that you're just really excited to see on the field?
And you say newcomer, do you mean COVID freshman or really just a true freshman?
Well, anybody that we haven't seen.
Carson Wisenhunt. I'm excited for you guys to see him. He's special. He's a special talent. I think I mentioned this last week, but Burley talked to him just in passing. Burley and I hit twice a week, and he just told Carson, hey, don't make the moment too big. Do what you've done for the past 5-6 months. You faced some of the best hitters in college baseball, and don't make the moment too big. And I think if he does that, then he's going to be special. Carter Spivey, you have never seen Carter Spivey like he's been, and he's walking around different. He talks different. His confidence or swagger is just different. And, I think that's going to be exciting for you guys to see. Seth Cadell, I know he's not a newcomer, but the way he's played for the past 5-6 months is different. AMAC is different. The 2 newcomers I think you guys will see a lot of will be Josh Moreland and then Riley Johnson. And then the 2 pitchers that are newcomers, Josh Groves and Danny Beal, they're a little bit behind the other pitchers just because of some of the protocols. And you guys know where I'm going with that early when we first got back to school. But those guys have a chance to pitch a lot for us as well.
When you play a team like Rhode Island, from taking a look at them, what kind of stands out and you have to kind of be mindful of?
The only thing I can tell you about Rhode Island is I think it was 2013 or 14 at Ole Miss. It was 2013. I mean, Coach Knight was on that team because he reminded me of it. But we beat them on Friday night at Ole Miss. On Saturday, Coach Knight came off the bench and walked them off, which I didn't remember. So you might have to fact check that, Malcolm. But I don't think he would have lied to me about that. And then Sunday they beat us. So they're very well coached. They have been to regionals before. They're older, I think, on paper. So, look, I say this all the time. John Gilbert came out to practice yesterday. How's good is Rhode Island? I got no idea, John. If we play well, we got a good chance of winning. If we play like crap, then we got a good chance of losing. And that's the way we approach every game. So I know I'm not answering your question. I know I'm not giving you any bulletin board material, but that's the way we approach every game we go into. If we take care of us, then we're going to be in good shape.
Different sports have kind of handled the no fans thing, seems like differently from football to basketball right now. Like the players on the bench are kind of chanting defense and stuff. I mean, how do you envision, I don't know if that will happen in baseball, but inside the dugout within the game, like how do you think that will kind of go just within the players and energy and stuff?
Well, I think, and you guys have seen us play a lot, I think our dugout's pretty loose. I don't know if you would look over at our dugout and go, hey, Coach Godwin's got a bunch of soldiers over there. I want them to be themselves within the realms of having some sportsmanship. I always tell our guys to stay on us and not say anything to the other team. But, you've seen characters. I mean, Brickhouse carrying people from home plate and stuff like that. I guess that wouldn't be COVID friendly now. But at the end of the day, I want them to be themselves. I want them to have energy. I want our dugout to have energy. And, when we scrimmage, every year since we've been here, we have energy process points and how fast we get on the field, how fast we get off the field, how fast we get the ball around the infield. So we still want to sell tickets virtually. As I told our team the other day, we want people to want to log in and watch us play. And I want Matt Bridges, who's sitting in the room here next to me, when he gets a big strikeout, to give a fist pump to his teammates and get them fired up, because that's a part of the game. And I think our guys will do a good job of that.
What went into the decision to honor the Packard family with the patches on the caps this season?
Joey, right?
Yes.
It was pretty simple, to be honest with you. I called Pack, which Pack and I had talked several times once his mom passed away, and just making sure that he was okay and John, his dad, was okay. And then after a couple of weeks went by before Christmas, I called Pack and I said, hey, look, we want to do something for your mom and just to remember her. And look, you're not going to tell me nothing because we're going to figure out something if you tell me nothing, but talk to your dad and get back to me. And so Pack talked to his father, John, and they came up with an idea if we could recognize her, on our hats and our helmets. And so Pack and really Blake Hardigree and a company that we use came up with this design. And so it'll be on our purple game hat, our white game hat, our camo game hat, and then all the position players, when they go to the plate and wear helmets, it'll be on the helmet as well. And Pack meant so much, of course, to me personally. He was our first commitment here in the Cliff Godwin era, which was a big deal. But secondly, what his family meant to ECU baseball and what his mom, the support she showed us. So it's the least we could do.
Okay, one last question for Coach before he has to go to the cages. Okay, none. Coach, thank you for your time.
No problem. We're going to turn it over to the man right here, Matt Bridges. He's got a lot more insight than I do. See you guys.
Thanks, Coach.
What's going on?
Hey, Matt, how are you, buddy?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing well. We're just going to go straight into questions for Matt.
Matt, with everything you guys went through last year with, having to close everything down, not knowing whether you were going to come back or not, having to make that decision and deciding to come back, how excited are you to get this thing going?
I think we're really excited. It's been almost a year now. The decision to come back was a huge one for me, and I just couldn't imagine myself not being here this year. And I think a lot of us have grown over the pandemic. We've become closer as a team through our relationships and our bubble being tight. And a lot of us have grown, in the game of baseball. We've been able to, focus on stuff that has helped us improve our games. And, we're excited to get out there tomorrow.
Matt, when you look at last year, it potentially as a senior, if the season would have ended, you would have moved on. It wouldn't have ended on your terms. How important was it to come back and kind of, finish the season and have your career end on your terms?
I'd say I had originally had plans to go to chiropractic school. I would have been there this year, but ultimately I made a career change just to be back this year with my guys. And I'm down doing the MBA program with Cam Colmore. And at the end of the day, I just couldn't look back 20 years from now. I had a phone call with Coach Shee after the season had ended. And he basically laid it on the line with me, and he was like, hey, if this is what you want to do, go on to chiropractic school and not come back and finish your career here. Don't ever look back on it. And vice versa. It was like, if you want to come back and play, don't ever look back and say, I wish I would have gone to school instead. And sitting there thinking about it, I was like, there's no way that I would look back 20 years from now and say that I did not want to come back and play the game of baseball and finish on my own terms. So that was probably the most important thing to me, and just finish the game out like that I'd started since, I was 4 years old. So.
With you being a leader on this team and obviously coming back for what is obviously the love of the game, how important is it for you as a senior and a leader on this team to kind of convey those thoughts to the younger guys to never really take this game for granted?
Yeah, that's something that we take pride in every day, is just to get 1% better and really love the game and being here with our guys. So we set aside like 15 minutes a day and just really focus on something that can that can improve our game as well. But it's really the camaraderie we have within the team, just being around each other every day. I think that's what really keeps us coming to the field every day is the love we have for each other, and that's what builds our culture here at ECU.
Matt, we've heard a lot about defense this preseason. You look at the infield with Ryder and Agnos and Seth Cadell, and obviously those guys. As a pitcher, what's your comfort level kind of like with Cadell as a catcher, and then obviously the guys you have behind you, to make plays?
Oh yeah, it's huge. Seth and I have a great relationship. He's back there about every day. He loves to catch our bullpens, gives us great feedback, which is really important for us because we know we can trust him behind the plate. And the defense behind me, I mean, it's unreal with, you got Zach and Ryder and Norby and, a lot of those older guys you guys have seen out there before. They make the routine plays and they make spectacular plays in practice. And, we look at it as normal, but, they do that every day for us. So we know that we can trust them behind us. So it's awesome.
Matt, can you talk about what's important in playing in wet, chilly conditions for you personally?
I think we're gonna get thrown with adversity like that all year. We don't typically like to look at it. It's just, the other team has to play in those conditions just like we do. So, that's what we take pride in is just being out there and being better than our opponent on any given day.
You've been doing this for quite a while now. Big season for you coming up here, trying to, finish up your college career right. And what are some of the things you kind of been working on that you feel like you have to get better at and heading into this season?
Like personally or as a team? Player?
Yeah.
Personally, for me, the biggest thing that I would work on over this offseason was my changeup. Mostly out of the bullpen, I was a fastball slider guy, which I still take pride in those pitches as well. But just being able to develop that third pitch with Coach Dietz and AK has been huge for me, and I've gained a lot of confidence in it. And it's definitely something that I'll be able to use in games.
Matt, there's obviously a lot of talent on the team. So when you're throwing live at bats or scrimmages, you're facing really good hitters. How much an advantage do you think that gives the pitching staff going into opening weekend?
It's great. We know that we have one of the best offenses in the country. It's helped prepare us for the teams that we're going to face in the future. And we have a really tough conference and a really tough schedule. So, I think it gives us a sense of pride on the team, but also knowing that we do face those elite hitters in the box every day at practice. And, we'll be able to face anybody that we come in contact with.
Man, when you look around that room at the pitchers and you see some of the guys that are putting on that ECU uniform, what does it do for your competitive advantage, your competitive juices? Does it get it flowing, seeing all those guys that have such good arms and such, at any time any of those guys could step up?
Oh yeah. We're really deep this year. We're excited. Our talent level is probably the most that I've had since I've been here in the 6 years. So, talent, our motto this year is toughness over talent, but just knowing that we have that and then developing the toughness within our team, it's going to make us a really tough opponent. So.
Okay, one last question for Matt.
What are your thoughts from the player's perspective about not having fans? And you've been here a while and been in regional environments and big games. I mean, the fans are kind of a big deal at ECU. It's an advantage. How do y'all plan on kind of moving on without that, or kind of creating that own energy?
Yeah, so we have dugout intent leaders to start off with. Cam, myself, Skylar Brooks, and Smitty. When we're in the dugout together, we're going to have dugout leaders that's going to keep the energy up. But just like Coach Godwin said, we're here to sell tickets virtually. So we want to put on a show for the fans to bust it around the field, show some excitement on the mound, whether at the dish or on the mound. And just, the fans are a very important part of ECU's tradition. But we know that they're going to be there with us in spirit. And, then we'll get the guys to do a little jungle lap anyways after some of those wins. So, it's, we're definitely going to, know that they're with us. So.
All right. Matt, thank you very much for your time today.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Reggie. Oh, yeah.